Hello there, YouTube. Devin here again. Today we're going to do a pretty long-awaited video. Now, I don't have all the perfect exact period examples for it, but I have a very, very good representation of it. So a lot of that is just because some of these helmets, especially in the configuration I need them to be, are getting kind of harder to find. But as far as the shell design goes, I have every representation of the helmets that are going to be informationally useful in this video. And this video is going to be on Finnish helmets during World War II. What we have here in front of us is the only helmet that Finland entered World War II with, and that would be the Solberg Helmet. It dates back to World War I. It's based off the French Adrian design. This is the civil defense model. This is the one that would have been used because they all would in Finland were updated to this pattern somewhere in the 20s and 30s, early 30s to this design, where they get the black paint and they get the triple reindeer leather liner. Now, chin straps tend to vary, and they tended to break as they were very, very narrow, as you could tell by the bales here. They had pretty narrow chin straps. You see a lot of different colors and versions of chin straps on these helmets. But this would have been the helmet that Finland would have had available to them at the beginning of the war, and it served till the end of the Winter War, the Continuation War, and the Lapland War to some degree. They are seen in small numbers in pictures, usually not with frontline troops, but in most cases with Finland, the rear line became the front line fairly easily during large sections of the war, so you can see these on the front. They were not specifically intended to be there because the Finns knew they were an outdated design. So now we're going to move on to probably the next most common helmet that you see in Finland during World War II, and that would be various Swedish designs. Now, you see a lot of Swedish M26s. This is the M21. The M26 is basically just a simplified version of this. It's the same exact shape. All they do is they take the rim off and they take the crest off. That's all that would have been different on this helmet. And they would have probably stayed in this gray helmet. They would have obviously had the markings scrubbed off of them because Sweden didn't want to be affiliated with Finland in any way, but they did send aid. Now, a lot of it is that during World War II, the Swedish government didn't really send aid, but people in Sweden raised money to buy helmets and weapons and stuff from the government to send to Finland, which was kind of a way of skirting around international rules, because basically Sweden knew that they were next if Finland fell. So you see a lot of Norwegian, well, very early on, you see a lot of Norwegian and Finnish kind of surplus stuff make it into Finland, because the Scandinavian peninsula, depending on how things went in Finland, could have been a major theater of war, and a lot of these countries knew that. So you see a lot of aid being sent to Finland during the Winter War and the Continuation War in the form of war materials, and you could tell by the probably 8 helmets I'm going to show you here that they got a lot of aid from a lot of different countries, most of which being Nazi Germany. Nazi Germany was kind of the only country that didn't give them a raw deal and promised big support and went through with it. So here we have the Swedish representation of the Swedish helmets that were used in World War II. Now, these were used in numbers about the 20,000s. They would have been shipped to Finland, so not a ton, but they were there. The next most common helmet you see would be the Italian M38. These would have been sent during the Continuation War. These were sent in numbers of about 20,000. They were obviously given by fascist Italy, who was an ally of Nazi Germany, who was in turn an ally of Finland. Now, Finland falls into this weird spot in World War II as well, where they're not really an Axis power, but they're not really an allied power either. They kind of were just in it for self-preservation, and they took help from wherever they could get it, which just happened to be Germany. but you see them kind of get some leniency, but still also have to deal with war reparations and ceding territory and stuff like that after World War II because of the fact that they technically were on both sides of the war for World War II. You see the Allies helping them very, very early in the beginning, then you see Germany helping through the middle, and then they actually turn on Germany in the end with Russia in the Lapland War. But they still end up kind of getting the raw deal from both sides at the end, although it's kind of a lighter raw deal than Germany and Italy and stuff like them would receive. It's still pretty bad. But you see about 20,000 of these used too, and they're very uncommon in pictures to find, the Finnish M33s. So now we're going to move on to probably one of the next most common helmets that Finland would have used. They ended up making these. Now I don't have an actual correct one, but it would have been the Swedish M37. It wouldn't have been this color. It would have been made in gray. They did receive a couple of them as aid. Then they received the rights to produce them from Sweden. They made these in pretty large numbers, but it's not a helmet you see very frequently. It would have been in, like I said, in the Finnish kind of stone gray color. And then it would have had just your 3-pad leather liner like you would find on the M26 like this, except instead of being riveted to a ring, it would have been riveted directly to the shell. So instead of this kind of Stell helmet liner where it was on the ring, it would have been just, the pads would have just been riveted directly to the shell, but it would have been this exact helmet just with a different liner. This is the Swedish M37-65, which is a updated one. Same exact helmet, just a different liner is all it would have been. And it would have been called the M37 in Swedish service, but it was oftentimes referred to as the M40 in Finnish service, which is when they were allowed to start making them, was in 1940, so they called it the M40, which means they have a lot of different helmets called the M40 in service during World War II. So you can find them named both things, but oftentimes if you see that kind of gray one with that 3-pad liner that doesn't have the Swedish triple crown seal that you saw on my M21 on it, it's probably a Finnish one. So they were made to a pretty decent standard for when they were allowed to manufacture them. Moving on to the next helmet, it's probably the most loved helmet by the Finns. It is the Czechoslovakian M34 Eggshell helmet. Now this is a helmet the Finns absolutely loved. They went apeshit over these. These were kind of like the creme de la creme as far as the helmets they were given, in the opinion of the Finns. It had a very comfortable liner that you could wear winter gear under. It was a very simple design. It didn't bite on packs and body armor. It worked very well with ski troopers, and it integrated with their equipment very well. It was very easy to maintain. You could swap parts out on it as they broke, basically, rather than having to junk the whole helmet as with a lot of stuff. They were very easy to maintain, and they were very easy to use, and they were really well liked by the Finns. They give you good hearing. The Finns operated in a lot of like stealth missions, essentially, ambush attacks. So this is very easy to hear out of as well as see out of. They gave you very good visibility and hearing, as well as offering a very good amount of protection because of their very sloped design. So the Finns really, really like these, and they're very, very comfortable chin strap. Like I said, that could be used over winter gear very easily because they weren't as tight in the crown because of the shape of the helmet. You could just adjust the length of pull, basically, how high you wanted it to sit on your head. But other than that, that's all the adjustment this helmet has. But it's still a very stable design and a very, very good design. So the Finns got about 35,000 of these from the Nazi-occupied Czech government. These were sent during the Continuation War. The Finns really, really, really liked these, and you see these in about numbers of 35,000. So now we're going to move on to the two most common helmets. Well, one I don't actually have, but I have one here that kind of works for both. So this is a Finnish M40 helmet. This is an actual wartime produced Finnish M40 that was later updated to the 55 pattern, and it was repainted and refinished and stuff, but it's in that kind of stone gray color. It's made on German-made M40 presses. So all these Finnish helmets are made on German presses. The very early ones you will see of German design will not have this hole, because they would have had the German liners put in them. Now the Finnish M40s, if they had anything break on them, would have had these holes put in them. Or the Finnish ones would have produced with these holes in them for ease of use, because they would have only had to have one liner and chin strap then. And the liner chin strap they wanted to use was the Hungarian M38 pattern. Now the Hungarian M38 is going to look just like a German M35. So it'll be the same exact shape as this, the same exact setup, except instead of the rivet holes being a part of the shell, they're a separate piece. So the rivets are actually put in, the vents are riveted in instead of just being molded into the shell like this. And they would have a little kind of bar back here, like a little loop, metal loop routing channel, so you could hang it on a pack, because that's how the Hungarians wanted their helmet set up. So you'd see this little kind of routing strap routing bar back here, and that was one of the second most common helmet used during World War II by Finland is the Hungarian M38. And the reason this hole is put here is, if you've watched my M40 video, is unlike German's designs, even though it was a German designed helmet, the M38 was a German designed helmet. It was a copy of the M35, an exact copy of the M35, except for the liner. The liner was different in the fact that the chin strap was not a part of the liner. The chin strap was separate and riveted directly through the shell, through these holes, and the liner was held in place through the 3 rivets, the 3 split pins. So these 3 split pins hold in the liner that go around the helmet here, as you can see, and then there's one in the back. So these 3 split pins hold in the liner, and then these 2 rivets would have held in the chin strap. And then after, in 1955, they took all of the M38 and M40 variants of the helmets like this. They made them all one uniform color, and they went back to the German style liner where the chin strap is connected to the liner. So that's why you will see these and like this. So an M40 is the same thing basically, except now the rivets are part of the shell, and the no routing channel in the back. So other than that, they're the same helmet essentially. So other than those 2 kind of little aesthetic choices, and then the only reason the Finns decided to make all their M40s have M38 liners and chin straps is because they had more M38s. So it was better to just standardize on one pattern, and they already had so many different helmet patterns in use that it was just going to be simpler on less logistics to take these 2 helmet designs, the M40 and the M38s they had, and just use the same thing if they would break. So that made sense from a logistics standpoint. And now the M40s were used in about 20,000s as far as numbers go during the war. The M38s were in about 70,000. They got about 70,000 M38s during their course of World War II, which is the second highest number of any helmet they ever had used. And now we're going to move on to the first number of helmets that they used. So that would be the World War I era kind of Stahlhelm designs. Now this is an M18. They received 80,000 M18s, World War I Stahlhelms in M16 versions, M17 versions from both Germany and Austria, and M18 versions, which is this. Now, they're all going to have the same liners in them. The Finns put all the same liners in them, no matter what, and that would have been the kind of, as you see here, this is a Finnish one. They would have had the triple pad design with the metal band. All of them would have been like that in World War II. So even though the M16s would have had the leather bands, everything like that, they all would have been updated to the M18 style. And they would have so you could tell which ones were M16s by they'd still have the big lugs on them, the 1870 pattern chin strap, 1870s. Sorry, I don't know the exact year off the top of my head. I'm doing all this from memory. They would have had the lugs for that chin strap still in the helmet. They didn't grind those off or anything. And you could tell this M18 is like that by the original German manufacturing stamp here. That proves that this one was actually indeed made in Germany. Now, Germany got sent 80,000 80,000 of these to the Finns. So this is by far the most common helmet used by the Finns in World War II is this design, the World War I Stell helm design. I haven't seen any with the ear cutouts. None of the M18s with the ear cutouts. So only the ones that look like this. So M16s, M17s, and M18s like this. Now this one's in my size, and I'm going to hopefully end up replacing the liner, because the liner in it, you could tell it's Finnish because it's got the kind of the white leather, the same one that you see in their M40s and stuff like that. They were big on this kind of white leather. They did kind of disintegrate. It is the old kind of horsehair one, as you can see. Inside there's some horsehair, but I don't think this one, I think this one was hastily updated sometime during the war, because if you look, it's not actually stitched to the ring, it's just pinched in place between this ring and the shell. So if I tried hard enough, I could just pull this pad out from in between the shell and the ring, even though the ring is, as you can see, held in place with the split pins here. And all the pads are like that. So I want to get one that's actually like stitched in place and nice. And as you can see, the chin strap is completely dry rotted and unsavable, broken through and everything. So I want to restore this one, since the shell is in such immaculate condition. There's no rust on it or anything. It's in that original kind of grayish green paint you see the Finns using during World War II. And it just needs a new liner, and this would be a superb display piece for Finnish World War II, and it's probably the one I'm going to use for reenacting after I get it all updated. Of course, gently, I'm not going to beat the piss out of this one. But so, hopefully you guys liked this video, and you learned something about this. Finland, as far as World War II, like, helmet collecting goes, is, like, awesome because of the wide variation of helmets and liners and everything that they used during World War II. They had tons of different designs and everything like that, and you can see it in pictures too. The Finns took a lot of pictures, so you can see almost every single one of these helmet designs in pictures. And they were also very, very good at documenting everything. So we can find the numbers that they got these at, because we have two sources. We have the country that sent it, and then we have Finland receiving it, which means we have pretty good hard numbers on the fact that these were used. So there's not a lot of maybes involved either, which is good. I really, really like that as far as helmet collecting goes. But hopefully you guys like this video. It's been a long awaited in the works, and everything like that. Hopefully you learned something you didn't know, and I know Mike has been wanting to see a video like this for a long time, and I'll probably, as I get more of the helmets that are in correct configuration for this video, I'll probably end up redoing it. So just don't worry about that. If you have any leads and stuff like that, by all means, leave me a comment, and I'll do my best to reply to it. And everything like that, because I greatly appreciate when my followers have helped me out. There's some of you have sent me stuff that have videos in the works and things still, and I'm working on it. I haven't forgot about you guys, I promise. I've just been very busy. Lots of big projects and tons of work. But thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, suggestions for future videos, anything like that in the comments, do that. I will do my best to reply to them if they warrant a reply, or otherwise I will at least like your comment, hopefully, as long as it's on task. Please keep your comments on task. That's been a problem lately, as we've been getting a lot of off-task comments, and I want the comments to stay not choked with a bunch of random bullshit, because if people are coming into the comments looking for information or stuff like that, or corrections for something I got wrong, I want them to be able to find it easy. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video, and more of this stuff to come. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.